Shalom, shalom, everybody. We are back, the Avi and Aussie show. How are you, Dave?
I'm excited, Avi. Great to see you again, mate. How's your week been?
It's been good, healthy, sort of back to life, kids going back to school, that sort of thing. It's like you got this, on the one hand, things seem normal. On the other hand, things are not normal. People want things to be normal, but yet, should you still be afraid? What should you be afraid of? It's hot. Is Corona spreading the heat? Does it not? It's all like a big mishkabobble. What about you?
I want to answer that, but you said mishkabobble. I have no idea what that means. I mean, I have an idea, but I've never heard that word before. And I'm Aussie. We make up the worst words possible. Look, things are great. You see, I'm indoors, by the way, today. Last week I was outdoors. You saw the beautiful garden in the background. I paid the price, or we both paid the price for that, because apparently the internet isn't as good outside. So I've gone indoors. This is, by the way, my real backdrop. You know this. You've been in my house.
I know. It's an awesome studio backdrop. You got it right there in your house.
It's like a fake Jerusalem stone. It's Beit Shemesh stone right here for everyone. Another reason I'm indoors today is the weather. As you said, it's been sweltering. Yeah. It is been 40 degrees plus Celsius. I'm not big on Fahrenheit, by the way. You'll have to convert that for the listeners.
It's very hot.
100 and something degrees, okay? Today's about 39, 40 degrees Celsius, also over 100. And Baruch Hashem, not complaining. I personally love the heat. Even though I'm as white as Casper the Ghost and I get burnt, it puts me in a good mood, the heat, because I'm from Australia and we love the outdoors. Avi, I know you're a big tennis player from your social media posts. We have to have a game of tennis at some point when it's a bit cooler.
Come on. Do you have tennis courts by you?
I've got one in my backyard. No, just kidding. I have a ping pong table in my backyard.
So you are invited out to the gush to come play with me on my court. By us, we have membership, so you have to have like a special membership to get in. So I'm in. I'm a member with the court. Come on by. We'll play.
Is the court the one near the shopping center?
No, it's the one near the road. Yeah, right near the road.
I'm name dropping tennis courts because you might not know. No, I think you know this, but the listeners out there might not know this. I used to live in a frat. Where you live? I mean, I studied in the yeshiva there.
Oh, right. You studied at the yeshiva at Bravenders.
27 years ago. So some of my studies were taken up, let's say, with playing tennis. Not an official course, but hey. And
well, if I remember, I studied there as well. And there were a lot of Aussies when I was there. I was there, 2020? I was there, 30 years ago, right?
You win. Yeah.
It's okay. No, but I remember being there with the Aussies, and I'm just saying that because the dorm buildings, the apartments, the houses were 2 seconds away from the tennis courts. It was just a 2-second walk.
Yeah. So we did play tennis, and another thing that we did, and this is after your time, but they built those new dorms up the hill where the old yeshiva was. We called them the hotel because they were like a hotel compared to
It was a guest house hotel. You're right.
Yeah. So any Aussies who were with me in yeshiva or around that time will know that we used to play cricket indoors in the corridors of those dorms or the hotel. Good times. Anyway, we're getting sidetracked. It's a pleasure always talking to you, but you have to keep me on the straight and narrow. My ADD is playing.
And by the way, I'm compensating since we don't have your outdoor background. So I gave a nice Judean Hills outdoor background today.
I love it. And the good thing is you don't get dehydrated because it's fake.
That's right. Don't tell anyone. Why are you giving away my secret?
Oh, sorry. But you're real, Avi, and what you say is always real, and that's what we all appreciate.
You got it. Listen, we got some great stuff to talk about today that you've been on top of. And it's so good news. I'm so happy to talk to you about good news, like Jew-Israel haters paying the price for their hatred. So let's go with it. Roger Waters. Yeah. And people who are not following an Israeli Cool, you have been on top of Roger Waters for years. Every time he comes out with his anti-Semitic, anti-Israel idiocy, you are there. So what's the latest, Dave?
Avi, first of all, I just have to request, please don't say I'm on top of Roger Waters, okay? You've just ruined my day, mate. That's just a bad image. No one wants to hear that, but I know what you
are
mean.
On top of the issue of the Jew hatred of Roger Waters.
Oh, mate, I love you. So it's hot off the press, okay? So Roger Waters has been boycotted by his own band. That's the beauty of it. So Pink Floyd, some of us like Pink Floyd. I was never their biggest fan, but I appreciated their music. So having Roger Waters be such an anti-Semite has been very painful for a lot of us. But he put out a video a day or two ago. You know, when he puts out videos, it's sort of like drunk dialing your ex-girlfriend, if you know what I mean. You see him, he looks disheveled, his hair's all over the place, his eyes are bloodshot. Sometimes you even see a wine glass or a whiskey glass in front of him. I'm not even joking.
Really?
I'm putting it out there that I think Roger Waters might need AA. You might think I mean Alcoholics Anonymous, but I actually meant something, another word with it starts with an A, ends with a hole. But anyway, he's not so anonymous there. Be that as it may, he complained that Dave Gilmour, one of his former bandmates from Pink Floyd, had actually banned him from the Pink Floyd site. And that's, you know, we're not supposed to revel in the misery of our enemies, but I can't help myself. This is great.
No,
and
he brought it upon himself. His focus is on hatred, totally. And his band members, like, we don't want anything to do with you in a sense.
Yeah. Yeah. And he's obviously suffering from this, meaning he's putting it out to his millions of followers. It obviously hurts him. And to be honest, you know, because he puts out so many pernicious lies about Israel, but not just that, the Jewish people, all these dog whistles about us, all these, you know, he hardly mentions the word Jew. I mean, he tries to be careful, but if you watch what he does and says, it's very clear what he means. And he does definitely stoke the flames of hatred against the Jewish people. And this is why I go after Roger Waters. And this is why I'm very happy, as you are, to see that Pink Floyd has actually BDS'd him.
Exactly. You got a taste of his own medicine.
It's
100%.
poetic. Yeah. And he actually, sorry, go ahead.
No. But I think, you know what's wonderful about it? Listen, we're believing Jews, right? We believe, even though it's hard for us sometimes, there is reward and punishment. That's what God does, reward and punishment. But the bottom line is, what's the punishment about? The punishment is about waking us up to get on the straight path. So in a sense, this is a taste of his own medicine. Roger Waters, wake up. You're wasting your life on Jew hatred for no reason than because you want to be liked, in a sense. And here you're being thrown out of your own band. Wake up. Here's your chance. Do tshuva, Roger Waters. I know Roger Waters is watching this because you're in this video. So now's your chance. Tshuva, repentance. Roger, now's your chance. Dave is calling out to you.
We'll welcome you back with open arms, Roger. I even have a great whiskey collection in my house. Avi can attest to it. So you've seen it. Roger, I'll even give you some of it, if that is what it takes. I'm terrible. Yes, I'm terrible.
It's great. But listen, we have to believe everyone has a spark, right? Maybe he'll wake up. I don't think so, but maybe he will. Maybe he will. And it's true. Maybe it's his own bandmates throwing him out of the limelight of the Pink Floyd that'll make him wake up. But we're giving him a chance. But the bottom line is, and we'll go with this to the next issue, which is Chris Gunnis, also just been hit. And you'll go into this. He was the UN representative in Gaza, or UNRWA's spokesperson in Gaza. So he's just been paying the price also, in a sense. But bottom line is, we always say it, the Bible says, those who bless Israel will be blessed. Those who curse Israel will be cursed. And I always tell people, it's not some mystic thing. You can see it in reality. All those who reach out and want to take the blessing and the good that Israel has to do, they are blessed. And all of our enemies who hate us, who don't want our help, they punish themselves. It's not God mystically punishing you and cursing you. You are cursing yourself by standing against Israel. So here, Roger Waters is getting it. And let's go into Chris Gunnis. He's getting it too. What's the latest?
Well, I should just sort of preface my remarks by saying this might have actually happened a while ago, but I only discovered it this week, a couple of days ago. So Chris Gunnis was the UNRWA spokesperson in Gaza. And he was in that infamous video where during, I think it was the 2014 Hamas war against the Jewish people of Israel, where he started crying because some civilians in Gaza got killed. Why he didn't cry when Israeli civilians were being shot at and some even killed, it's not beyond me. We know the answer to that, but I'm just pointing that out. And I found out that Chris Gunnis's Twitter account, he was actually suspended from Twitter. Now, I don't know exactly when, but I found this out just a few days ago. And I mean, when you think about it, this is the former UNRWA spokesperson. And we know Twitter is pretty tolerant when it comes to hate speech. Wouldn't you agree, Avi? Unfortunately.
Unfortunately, yes.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
They're not trigger happy when it comes to suspending people. So one can only imagine what filth Chris Gunnis actually tweeted in order to have Twitter even remove him. And what what a tarnished, or what a, it's very telling on not just him, but UNRWA, that they would hire someone like that. What I do know is in December of last year, Chris Gunness tweeted out, do you remember this, Avi? A poem where he was basically at best mocking Palestinians in Gaza who were hung by Hamas for collaborating.
I don't remember this.
But yeah, at worst, he was actually celebrating their deaths. Yeah, he put out like a Christmas poem. I don't exactly remember the exact words. I have better things to do than memorize Chris Gunness poems, believe it or not. But be that as it may, it was something like the bodies of the collaborators twinkling in the moonlight. I mean, it was disgusting and vile. And that tweet was actually removed after many reports. And that was the last I heard of Chris Gunness. And then someone tipped me off this week that, hey, wait, Chris Gunness's Twitter account has been removed. And I saw it, and lo and behold, it says suspended.
Wow.
But he's got a new Twitter account, Avi. And the new Twitter account, it's not political. He is now into music and podcasts. And here's the icing on the cake, Avi. I put in a search of his new Twitter account to see if Israel has been mentioned. And it's not political anymore. Israel has been mentioned once.
Really?
Listen to this.
Yeah.
Listen to this. He interviewed an Israeli musician called, I think, Matan Porat.
Okay.
Now, who is Matan Porat? I've never heard of him before, but I'll tell you who Matan Porat is. This is an Israeli cool exclusive.
Wow.
Matan Porat is the son of Chris Gunness's boyfriend in Tel Aviv, or ex-boyfriend, doesn't matter.
Okay.
There's a guy called Avi Porat that Chris Gunness, if he's not living with him now, at least was a few years ago. I know this as a fact. Why am I mentioning this? I'm not trying to shame Chris Gunness because of his sexuality. I'm not a big, that's not my thing. But to point out the hypocrisy, because while Chris Gunness was spending day after day demonizing us and saying how bad we are and the poor Gazans, he had a boyfriend in Tel Aviv. In Tel Aviv. Obviously, he doesn't boycott Tel Aviv men. But in Gaza, do you think his lifestyle, what would have happened do you think Chris Gunness could have gotten away with a boyfriend in Gaza?
No way. He would have been thrown off a roof. Exactly.
Well, that's being kind. He might have been hanging from the rafters as his poem where he was mocking collaborators with Israel. That's what his fate would have been. So that's why I'm pointing this out. So it's, you've got to tie up this whole story. It's wonderful to show the hypocrisy of this man, but also, karma, if you believe in karma. But as you said, yeah.
You think we could say that's a form of tshuva?
It's quite a harsh form of tshuva, yeah.
Wow. And again, just to put things into perspective, the evil of this guy, people who do not know, Hamas runs UNRWA in Gaza. So Chris Gunness was working with the devil. It's not like he had no clue. You could say, oh, he was a bleeding heart liberal and he really expected to be helping the Gazans, and he was working with the nurses and the doctors and the teachers who really only had the best intents for peaceful future. But no, everyone he worked with was Hamas. And they were inciting in their UNRWA schools in Gaza to murder Jews. That's what the textbooks are. That's what they're taught. And he hand in hand worked with terrorists to kill Jews. And yet he comes across as this, oh, I care about Gazans and Israel are the evil devil. So
yeah.
It's
another aspect of this story. I mean, so as I mentioned, he had an Israeli boyfriend. Maybe he still has an Israeli boyfriend. Obviously, someone supportive of his anti-Israel, anti-Semitic activities, which reminds me of another story that you actually helped promote this week about the Hebrew University, the Hadash party at Hebrew University. Tell us a bit about that, Avi, because I saw your video on this and I was absolutely disturbed by it.
Yeah, listen, I know our focus a lot is, I mean, just as a preface, our focus is a lot about the BDS, the Boycott, Divestment, Sanctions movement, is on all the Jew haters around the world, in Europe, in America, etc. But people forget that the main people behind BDS are actually in Israel. whether they're Israeli Arabs or whether they're Israeli Jews. They're the ones going around the world saying Israel is horrible. Professors egging on fellow professors in Europe, oh yes, boycott Israel because Israel is horrible, and yet they get a salary from teaching in Israeli universities. And here, just last week, you had a student union of the Hadash party, right? It's a political party, but they have a student union at Hebrew University. And for those unfamiliar, Hadash is a left-wing communist that includes many Arabs, but includes some Israeli far-left Jews as well. And here they made a video on Hebrew University basically saying that Hebrew University itself is complicit in the occupation and Nakba and destruction of Palestinian Authority because they allow an IDF program to have a program on Hebrew University campus with soldiers walking around in uniform. And in a sense, this video was incitement because they showed pictures of the IDF soldiers walking on Hebrew University campus, basically saying, we have our eye on you, be careful. And the army is so scared about this that they said, oh, we're going to give extra protection to soldiers on Hebrew University campus, which is in the campus in Jerusalem. This is the capital of the state of Israel. Israeli soldiers are not feeling safe on their own Israeli campus in Jerusalem, the capital of our country. It's just insane. And part of the insanity is that the university, again, it's run by this far left, that they allow it to happen. They're not going to take any action against this student group for putting out this insightful video. Instead, okay, yeah, army, give extra protection to the soldiers. And again, it just shows you that with all of the focus, which we should have focus on all the Israel haters and boycott, divestment, sanctions supporters around the world, we cannot lose focus that the originators of this hatred of Israel comes from our own here. And we have to go after the seed, after the core, in order to then also deal with around the world. So that's what's really very frustrating about this.
Yeah, I mean, well said, Avi, well summarized. But think about how insane it is for a second, okay? You've mentioned one aspect of the insanity, which is that our soldiers have to, in Israel, be afraid and be subjected to death threats by people that they're protecting. And when I say people they're protecting, I don't just mean the Jewish communists. The Israeli Arabs who are studying at the university. So they're complaining about the Nakba. What is the Nakba? The Nakba is the failed attempt by the Arab nations, the Arab armies, to eradicate us from the Middle East. Boo-hoo. I'm really not sorry that you failed in your attempts, okay? And by the way, many of these Arabs were not expelled, okay? They were fled. There are videos, you can see them yourself on the internet, where there were old Palestinian men saying that they fled. Because they were told, go away for now and come back when we win. Okay, it's a much more complicated issue. There were definitely some that were expelled. We shouldn't apologize for that, but that's called war, okay?
Exactly. I don't like war. The apologists. I don't like the apologists. Yeah, there were some Arab villages that were destroyed. It was a war. You tried to throw us into the sea. We defended ourselves. Those villages were dangerous. Exactly. Were destroyed.
Put on your big boy pants and own up to your actions, okay? Right. We're here to stay. And yeah, we gave you a big ass whooping, okay? But if you look at it in terms of wars, I mean, the collateral damage and everything, they got off pretty lightly. And those that were willing to stay and be peaceful, they're thriving, including these Arab Israelis that are at Hebrew University getting their degrees in law, in all sorts of things. And some of them who are part of this Hadash party are inciting against the very soldiers who are protecting them as well. An army that, by the way, contains some Israeli Arabs, including some friends of ours, Avi, some great people, fellow Zionists, who appreciate exactly what we're talking about, that they're protected as well, and they want to contribute to the army that protects them. We're talking about
just last week there was I'm just putting in and then continue. Just last week there was a terror attack against an Israeli soldier, but the soldier wasn't Jewish. He was a Druze soldier. His whole family serves in the Israeli army because they know how blessed they are to be Israeli citizens, because the Jewish state of Israel protects them that they wouldn't be protected in any Muslim country around the Middle East. And the same thing for Israeli Muslims, the same thing for Israeli Christians. They are the most blessed Arabs in the Middle East to live in the Jewish state of Israel. So go for it.
They absolutely are. And many of them agree with you. We only hear, you hear about the ones that make a lot of noise, the ones who are terrorist sympathizers. Okay. They're the ones you hear about. But we need to promote more of the ones that we know that are friends with us and who are doing great work, because they deserve to be commended. They're not looking for the commendation, but we know them, and we need to promote more of these stories, because we have many friends who are part of the army, part of different organizations, part of the government. And I'm not talking about in the opposition. I'm talking about even in Likud, even in the Zionist parties, you have Arab Israelis who are doing great work, because they understand, they get it. They've got it good here. Now, that's not to say that there isn't room for improvement.
Of course, there's always room for improvement.
I'm not going to sit here now and suggest that everything is great. And I mean,
everything's perfect. No, everything's great, but not perfect.
Exactly. They're great, but not perfect. And I'm on their side, meaning that's one of my things, as I'm sure it is of yours, that I feel that, you have righteous people that put in their lot with us, the Jewish people, and we need to be, this is my key, or what I think is the key to peace. It shouldn't be an Arab-Jewish war. It's about the side of good and the side of evil. And the side of good contains Jews and Arabs, Muslims, Christians, God-fearing people, or at least people that, believe in good and righteousness, against those who don't, who believe in murder, pillage, all these sorts of things that we've seen. And they're promoting this. And by the way, as to sort of tie everything together, many, communists and people on the far left are in bed with these evil people. Even though they talk about being liberal and about rights for humankind. Roger Waters, now let's go back to Roger Waters, who talks about the UN Declaration of Human Rights, but he's one of the most evil people on the planet. Because it's like, Animal Farm. All animals are created equal, some animals more equal than others. Right. And unfortunately, the Jewish people are usually the others.
Right. Listen, following your train of thought, like people like to call me a right-winger, but believe it or not, I believe I'm a peace activist, and I'll tell you why. Because I believe that the right wing are the ones who are going to bring the peace, and it's very simple. We were talking about before fellow Israeli Muslims or Christians who understand how blessed they are and stand up for Israel. Mohammed Zahabi and his mother Sarah Zahabi, they are strong Zionists, and they've gone public being Zionists. And how have they been rewarded by their own family and friends and community? With death threats. Their lives are in danger from their own family.
Yeah, there's many like them.
As pride Zionists. So how are we going to achieve peace? For me, I believe peace is simple. Peace is easy as cake. The problem is the progressive mindset. We can have peace tomorrow with those Israeli Muslims, Christians, Jews, etc., who want to live peacefully with us. We must stop appeasing the extremists who don't want to live in peace with us. They have to be treated accordingly. And unfortunately, the progressive mindset is that, no, they're oppressed. They have a reason to be upset. Let's appease them. Let's give them a space. But then the ones who pay the price are the ones who truly want to live in peace. So until the progressives shut up, or we shut them up, and we start saying, no, those who support terror are put down, and we reward those who support living in peace, we will be able to live in peace with all those who want to live in peace with us. Again, I dumbed this down, but it's possible. But so long as that mindset exists, no, they have a right to terrorize. No, you did bad things to them. But the people who suffer are those who truly want to live in peace from their own community, like the Zahabis. So I'm bullish. Peace is going to come, but it's only after we re-educate our own. The problem is us. It's not them. We know they're the problem, but no one's dealing with it. We can't tolerate those who support terror, even within Israeli Arabs and Jewish Israelis. They're the ones who are causing the problem because it leads to the continuation of terror. Whereas those who truly want to live in peace continue to suffer because of the bleeding heart liberals who are not liberal at all, rather appeasers to terrorists. That's what
Amen. Great rant. Great rant, Avi. No, I totally agree with every word you said. And just I'll add one other thing, is that they've got this sort of very sophomoric, juvenile kind of worldview that when you have two parties and one is doing well and one isn't doing well, that the one doing well has to be bad and the one not doing well is good.
Automatically.
Yeah. But newsflash, sometimes, and especially in this case, those not doing well are not doing well because they've devoted all their energies towards evil. They've taken all the resources and money and efforts and time and said, we want to eradicate the Jewish people, take them out of the Middle East. We could have put this money towards nation building, towards financial institutions, towards infrastructure, good things. But no, we're not. And therefore, they're stuck in the box, in the mud. And on the flip side, we're doing well. We're focusing on being constructive. We're including our Israeli Arab brethren. We want to make life better for everyone in our country, with some improvements, of course, we need to implement.
Always.
But at the end of the day, going back to what you said at the beginning of this call, it's all from Hashem, from God, because he said, those that bless you will be blessed and those that curse you will be cursed. They are cursed because they're cursing us. But they can be blessed if they join us, like the Israeli Arabs that love us, support us, are in the army, and then, our doctors doing great work. I have dear friends like this and doctors that I've experienced, as you know, they'll be blessed. And we want them to be blessed. We want to lift everyone up.
Right.
It's about lifting up humanity. And the liberals that are perpetuating this sort of victim mentality, they're just cursing not just themselves, but the people that they're representing.
Right.
Anyway,
and listen,
that's
I've started saying, because it's all about the language, and the left is they are gaonim. They're what's the word again? They're brilliant when it comes to language. They change the whole culture based on the language and the wording they use. And I'm sorry, I'm out there trying to do the same thing, but to our side. No, right wingers, we are the peace activists. The left wingers, they're the war activists, because it's their progressive mentality that you were talking about, that the downtrodden are always the right ones, is what continues the terror and evil and circulation of death and violence. They are the war activists, and it's the right wingers who believe in security and standing by those who want to live peacefully with us. We're the peace activists. So yeah, it's all about changing it. But you know what? This is a great segue to the final issue that we thought about talking about, because it's from a different perspective, but it's about someone who's joining the Jewish people. And we're talking about former Knick basketball player, Amare Stoudemire. Unbelievable.
That's Amare. Yeah.
Huh?
That's Amare.
That's Amare. Unbelievable. Look, tell everyone about the video that just went viral this week of him.
Yeah, so look, Amare Stoudemire, as you mentioned, former NBA player, very suitable topic. I don't know about you, but I'm watching The Last Dance on Netflix. It's amazing.
What is The Last Dance? I don't watch Netflix. What's The Last Dance? I have no clue.
First of all, I don't want to judge you, but you really should be watching this. The Last Dance is about the Chicago Bulls of the 90s with Michael Jordan. It's behind the scenes. It's just riveting stuff, even if you're not a basketball fan. I mean, I happen to be a basketball fan. I was a big fan of the Bulls back in the day and of Michael Jordan. But even if you're not, it's riveting stuff, because it's really a study of human nature and what it takes to win. And he's a very compelling guy, Michael Jordan, because he would want to win at all costs. He made himself enemies even within his own team, but it's about striving for excellence. And I personally, I have about one more episode to go. I personally really appreciate Michael Jordan, even though I understand, his derech eretz, his way of treating some of his teammates, but he was trying to push them to excellence. Okay, be that as it may, this isn't about.
Well, thanks for letting me know. I had no clue about this, and I grew up in that time in America. I was in America at that time in New York, watching.
Shame on you.
I was there. The Bulls, the Celtics, the Lakers. Yeah. That was my time. So that brings me back. I'll look this up.
Yeah, no, it's really fascinating, and I love it, because, as I said, it's about striving for excellence. And I personally find it very inspiring, because he proved that you could reach heights that you didn't even think humanity could reach in the realm of sports, of course. Let's put it in perspective. But still, be that as it may, then I see this video from Amare Stoudemire, who's also from the NBA, an African-American basketballer. I'm not sure if he might still be a part owner of Hapoel Yerushalayim. He plays now for Maccabi Tel Aviv. Yeah. But he's a convert to Judaism. So he always felt, I don't know if his conversion I think his conversion has finished, but he's either converting or he has converted. Because he always felt Jewish. I think he was part of some sort of a Hebrew Israelite congregation. I don't know if it's the same as the Black Hebrews or some difference, but he's basically converting officially. And
right.
it was an interview.
Right.
Yeah, it was an interview with Omri Caspi, also a former NBA player, an Israeli. So you've got the Jewish Israeli that was born Jewish interviewing the convert to Judaism.
The
and
African-American NBA player who converted to Judaism.
Yes. Who's learning, and he was talking about his learning, and it's so inspiring to me because, obviously
he's actually saying, I learn Gemara every day. I learn Mishnah every day. Right? I love learning the laws of Shabbat. I love learning the laws of Jewish dietary laws, kashrut. This is Amare.
I'm trying to become a better person. I mean, that, and the thing is that, and you have to see this video, maybe put a link in the comments or something, but Omri Caspi grew up, he's a secular Jewish Israeli. And he's like, whoa. And he's like, I don't know this stuff. I didn't grow up learning this stuff. And he's inspired. He's telling Amari he's inspired by Amari. And this is the thing, like the converts to Judaism are the most inspiring people.
Yeah.
We have to treat them, because I know there are people out there that don't necessarily treat them the way they should be treated. Just like, it's a good segue, as you said, because we're talking about the supporters of Israel who are Jewish. The Arab Israeli brethren of ours, and we need to hold hands with these people and also
embrace them.
Beloved. The converts to Judaism are like my favorite because I was born into Judaism, and it would take a lot for me to not want to be Jewish. But I can't even imagine wanting to convert into our people, given how maligned we are, the disinformation out there. I mean, it takes the strongest, the best of humanity, I think. The best of humanity to want to, and not just want to become Jewish, but to actually become Jewish. It's
right,
the creme de la creme. Creme de la creme, as far as I'm concerned.
And again, we're not just talking about becoming Jewish, but seriously learning the Torah and doing the mitzvot. I mean, I always tell people tell me, oh, I want to be a Jew. I'm saying you don't have to be a Jew. Why do you want the 613 commandments? You don't have to. God specifically said, you Jewish people, you are my representatives to do these mitzvot, to do these 613 commandments, in order that the rest of humanity understands and appreciates God is in the world. But they don't have to be Jews. It's not that we're better because we have the commandment. That's our purpose. And you want to be Jewish, you don't have to be Jewish. Be the best person you can be. Follow the 7 Noahide laws. That's all you have to do. And yet he's deciding.
Avi, I don't know if you saw my rant from Friday. I've started doing these barbecue, I call them fireside chats, in memory of Ari Fuld. Although Ari Fuld, he pioneered it, I actually thought of the idea before Ari, but it doesn't matter. I never told him. And he inspired me actually to go ahead and do it, because he was a doer, as you know. And my last one was about, this whole God TV fiasco here, where you have these missionaries who are trying to convert Jews. And I mentioned exactly this point, Avi. It's like you read my mind, because obviously you didn't see the talk. But
it's the non-Jewish Judean hills in my background.
Yeah. The non-Jewish people, I mean, who, even if you're a religious Christian, where we accept that. It's great. Keep the 7 Noahide laws. That's it. 7 Noahide laws of morality, being a good person, all these sorts of things. We accept our Christian brothers and sisters, just don't convert us. Right. It just reminded me of that because you mentioned specifically the 7 Noahide laws. You don't have to convert to Judaism. But what I'm saying is, those that do, they know it's hard. 630 mitzvot, wow, it's hard. It's hard because we have our role. Going back to basketball, we're like it doesn't matter, pick a position. We might be the point guard, but we're all the team, right? Our Christian brothers and sisters, they might be, the power forward. Doesn't matter. We're on the same team.
We all have a role to play with our unique identities. That's the point. No one.
Exactly. We need each other. That's the thing about Judaism. We're not trying to convert everyone to be the point guard. We need the bit player. I don't mean the bit player that they're the bit players and we're the main players. We're all players on the team. Sometimes we're on the bench. Sometimes they're, in play, and vice versa. But we have to be on the same team. If we're on the same team, we win the championship.
Yeah, no, 100%. It's like, it's really sad when I hear people who part of their anti-Semitism is, oh, you Jews think you're elitists. Well,
so different from the truth.
Right.
So
It's exactly
different
the
from the truth.
opposite. It's like, no, you don't have to be like, we have it hard. It's not easy being an Orthodox Jew following the Torah as we're supposed to. It's not easy at all.
We don't missionize.
What?
We don't even missionize. If
Right.
thought
And
we
we
were the
don't,
best, we'd be saying,
exactly.
you have to be Jewish, come convert. We're like, you sure you want to do this? We make it so hard because we know it's really difficult, and we only want those that really think they want to keep the 613. Why keep the 613 if you keep the 7?
Right.
And we just want to, we don't want to have people that convert and then regret it, and then they're Jewish, and there's all sorts of problems with that. But you're right. It's the exact opposite. We're like the most, we're self, what's the word I'm looking for? We put ourselves down even a lot. That's our humor.
Right.
We're
and
not
not
like,
that,
we're so great.
It's not, forget about bringing others. We have a hard enough time trying to keep our kids in the fold, you know?
Oh,
it's like,
totally.
You see the freedom. Oh, why do I need this religion stuff? I want to be able to do whatever I want. Like those kids over there, like those kids, whether it's in Chutz La'aretz, whether in Israel. So it's a challenge. It's a challenge to give over the understanding of identity and the pride of our culture and our traditions, because it's not easy. We have to do them. It's not like, oh, you could choose. No, we have to do them. That's part, and that's the secret sauce. I tell that to my kids, and hopefully it's getting into their heads, you know, that's our secret sauce. The only reason you are Jewish today is because me and your grandparents took upon this lifestyle to keep the traditions of our ancestors, doing the same thing as our ancestors did thousands of years ago. Because if you stop doing it, guess what? Your kids are not going to want a connection to either your kids or your grandkids are not going to want a connection to be part of the Jewish people anymore. And they're going to go bye-bye. And this is the same for us.
Yeah. And thank goodness now we're able, Avi, you and me and all of us in Israel are able to do it here in our homeland. Because in our parents' generation and before, at least our grandparents' generation, they weren't able to do it. It was very hard for Jews to live here. And we're living in blessed times. So to sum it up, you know, we've built our homeland. We have many partners in the world, our Arab-Israeli partners, our non-Jewish partners, those that decide they want to remain non-Jewish, or those that decide they want to join the fold, be members of the tribe. We're all on the same team. And we're living in wonderful times. We're living 100%. In wonderful times.
100%. And I get the message that you just said and that I put out all the time is, I just want listen, we're always talking about the troubles. There are troubles and we have to deal with the troubles. But at the same time, we have to remind people, remind yourselves of all the good to be thankful for in your life, even if it's just waking up in the morning and breathing and having another day to live. Yesterday I did a video on Moda'ani, like I'm doing a prayer series. We're just saying, thank you, God, for returning our soul to us in the morning. Like, how could we not start the day being thankful just for breathing? We can't take even that for granted. And that's what it said. Call out the problems and then be thankful for everything and bring people closer to inspire people to have a better life. So for all of us, and for us being in the Jewish people, being in the homeland, we are in our natural habitat where we can connect to our natural identity and be able to inspire all of humanity that much easier from where we are supposed to be. So with your background and with my background, let's keep doing it. Keep doing it, Dave. Keep on calling out the bad stuff, and then talking about when they get their due, like Roger Waters and Chris Gunness, and keep on inspiring people to do good.
Amen, amen, amen. Avi, that was a fantastic pep talk. You inspired me. I want to just go outside now, breathe the air, even though it's like, it's 110 degrees right now. 40 but just to appreciate it, just to appreciate it. I mean, we're living here in amazing times in the land of Israel. And I just, on that note, I just want to wish everyone, a nice return to civilization as we slowly go back to civilization, wherever you are in the world. Here in Israel, as you mentioned, things are relaxing. We have kids back in school. The beaches are open, but please play it safe. We should never take anything for granted again. And if anything we learned from this period of time, the past 2 months, is to wake up in the morning and thank God for what we have and to be appreciative of everything we have, because in one instant, boom, things can change.
Right. Yeah, and you know what? And I'll just add one last thing. Goodbye. Wishing everyone a Yom Yerushalayim Sameach, Jerusalem Day. Because if nothing else, Jerusalem Day represents the miracles that take place around us all the time. Jerusalem Day represents the huge not just one miracle, but tons of miracles that brought about the Jewish people, the land of Israel, to win a defensive war of 6 Arab armies coming to annihilate us and destroy us and throw us into the sea again. And miraculously, we won. It's not another day to just go by. Jerusalem Day is a day to take a step back and say, oh my God, Israel's a miracle. Jerusalem's a miracle. That we exist here is a miracle. And it's about being thankful, not allowing ourselves to be ungrateful, but to be grateful and thankful.
Amen.
All right, Dave, signing off for the second episode of the Avi and Aussie show. Thanks for everyone. Thanks for watching in our eternal and ancestral homeland.
Bye. Till next week. Take care, everyone.
Take care.